Blythe Stevens of A. Blythe Coach, Dance Education and Coaching to Move Through Life with Balance, Grace, and Power. Today, we are focusing on one of the most important, no, the most important exercises or steps in ballet dancing and is applicable to all forms of dance. And that is plié, or to bend, the controlled and graceful flexion and extension, sinking and rising, bending and straightening of classical ballet technique. The technical manual and dictionary of classical ballet by Gail Grant describes plié thus. Bent, bending, a bending of the knee or knees, rendering the joints and muscles soft and pliable and the tendons flexible and elastic, and to develop a sense of balance. Two principal pliés, rond plié, or full bending of the knees bent until the thighs are horizontal, and demi plié, or half bending of the knees. Pliés are done at the bar and center in all 5 positions of the feet. The bending movement should be gradual and free from jerks, and the knees should be at least half bent before the heels are allowed to rise. The body should rise at the same speed at which it descended, pressing the heels into the floor. The Russian ballet technique of Agrippina Vaganova, Basic Principles of Classical Ballet, describes plié this way. Plié is done in 5 positions. It is begun with a half movement, demi-plié, and only after this is fully mastered, the full movement, grand plié, is introduced. Plié is inherent in all dance movements. It is found in every dance pas, and therefore particular attention should be paid to it during exercises. If a dancer lacks plié, her performance is dry, coarse, and devoid of plasticity. People who are naturally endowed with a talent for the dance have a very pliant Achilles tendon, not so me. And the leg easily forms an acute angle with the foot. Others have an Achilles tendon that bends with great difficulty. In such cases, it is necessary to begin a struggle with nature. And here we must exercise great caution and consideration. Therefore, if the feet are hurt, it is best to refrain for a time from working on plié, and return to this work later, gradually and carefully. Not forgetting at the same time to distribute the weight of the body equally on both feet. The study of plié should begin at the bar, holding onto it with one hand. Demi-plié should be carefully mastered, done without lifting the heel from the floor. Turn out the whole leg. The knee should always be bent in the direction of the toes. In grand plié, keep the heels on the floor as long as possible. When it becomes impossible to stretch the tendons any longer, lift the heels off the floor softly and gradually, never with a pull. The heel should not be kept off the floor for any length of time. Begin to raise yourself and lower the heels without any delay. Continuing on. Upon reaching the extreme point of the plié in the down movement, the pupil should not remain there even for a moment, but should immediately begin to straighten up. If a pupil remains sitting, quote, in a plié, she not only does not improve the energy of the muscular drive and elasticity of the whole leg, but on the contrary, the levers of the jumps acquire a sluggishness. The Cecchetti method of classical ballet theory and technique by Cyril Beaumont, describes plié thusly. Plié, perfect the equilibrium and render the joints and muscles soft and pliable. If you were to pass to the execution of grand battement without first executing plié, your muscles would be stiff and hard, so that the sudden stretching of the leg would produce a strain and perhaps even cause you still more serious injury. Ballet pedagogy, the art of teaching by Rory Foster, describes pliés thus. Plié, bend, is the most important movement we have in ballet. Practically every step begins and ends with it. We simply could not dance without it. The plié is a movement, not a position. It is what a dancer moves through in order to get to the next step or directional change. Feeling the plié is very important, but getting stuck in it is another matter. As a beginning exercise, it consists of a complex set of motions that enable the dancer to feel movement of the entire body, especially when it is done with corps de bras and cambré. It establishes the initial feeling of posture and placement, the center line of gravity, the plumb line, and it incorporates movements of the ankles, knees, hip joints, the release and rotation of the legs, turnout, and the alignment of the torso over the legs and feet, base of support. Incorporating stretches going forward and sideways, flexion, backward, extension, and circular rotation simultaneously enables the spine to become warmed, stimulated, and stretched. In other videos, I cover in detail the alignment in the upper body, but in plié, it is important to remember that the head, rib cage, and pelvis are all stacked on top of each other in dynamic alignment. So we are sensing length from really the heels and foot flat on the floor, through the legs, through the line of the spine. So we have really long, extended back line. The toes are long on the floor. We're going to begin at parallel, so the toes reach right out in front of us. And there's equal weight across the bottoms of the feet, approximately 1/3 of the weight on the big toe joint, little toe joint, and heel, and equally on both feet. When we plie or bend on one leg, it's called fondue, and on 2 feet, that is plie. So we'll take 2 demi-plie, knees tracking right over the middle toe as they bend, upper body upright. And then we'll melt a little bit deeper. So not the deepest rock plie we will ever have, but just a little bit deeper so we feel that stretch in the back of the heel and Achilles tendon, and the heel barely lifts off the ground for our grand plie. And then we'll re-establish that connection of the heel with the floor, keeping the pelvis level, and stretch for our grand plie. Then we'll rise directly up, elevate, so sinking and then rising, and then slowly descend down. That is our parallel shape, so knees reaching right over the middle of the toe. Now we'll create a gentle rotation to first position. As beginner, I'd like to take one foot and then the other, rotating from the top of the hip. Again, more information about turnout or external rotation in another video. We're here in a gently rotating first position. Again, back is upright, and the knees will bend over the middle toe. Heels stay flat on the floor and stretch. Equal weight across our foundation on the floor, lifting up in the belly to engage the core muscles. And then the third plie will melt just a little bit deeper. Heels peel off minimally. And then they'll reconnect with the floor. We do demi plie on the way up and out of grand plie. And stretch. And then elevate during our transition. We'll just do one round in parallel. First position, second position, and third position on both sides. And then certainly more repetitions would be great in the future. We're just establishing the positioning for our plie and the action. So second position, wider than the first, but are you still tracking directly over our middle toe for a small bend? Body like an elevator, sinking and rising, straight up and down in space. Grand plie will go a little bit deeper. Definitely not deeper than the knees or where the thighs are parallel to the floor. And for most, not that deep either, keeping our alignment in the upper body. So it's easy to go into squat position, but that is a different technique than plie. And then we'll elevate, rise straight up in second. Then we'll bring our right foot in front, or one foot in front, third position. And then for two demi plie, one grand plie in third.
Plie is like a coiled spring, full of potential for leaping into the air, for springing, for turning. It's compact and yet full of energy and potential for movement. Thank you so much for joining me for these powerful and pleasing pliés. I hope that you have learned a bit how to finesse or refine your plié technique, or just practice what you know, or maybe you've learned the step from the ground up and you can come back and practice with me with this video, but also I will be sharing more complicated plié choreographies and more dancey combinations in the future. So if you enjoyed this video, please do like and subscribe down below. Give me a comment to let me know what you think, what you'd like to see more of, what was difficult, or what I can help with in the future. And I'll catch you next time. Have a great day.